From the RV Sports Complex in East Hampton, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting presents Olympic Conference American Division Baseball. This afternoon, the Eastern Vikings go on the road to visit the Rancocas Valley Red Devils. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Wilkins. Rock Roberson's my producer this afternoon. We're starting well behind schedule. I think that's a given, but today, a lot of games are postponed. RV said, no, we're going to play a baseball game today. In fact, our original game was postponed. We were supposed to be at Rowan College of South Jersey, but the dynamics have changed. This field is holding up after the rain. We had a lot of overnight rain last night. We're now going to see the fruits of our labor here in this Olympic American Showdown. Eastern on Tuesday suffered a brutal loss to Bishop Eustis 12-6. It was a loss that, by all means, was controversial. There were calls that probably should have gone the other way, and there were a lot of Eastern folks that really was rubbed the wrong way by that game. But it was a non-division matchup, so even though it was controversial, it's one that you can shake off and go to the next day. But for Rancocas Valley, this is a team that lost to Eastern 13-3 when these two played earlier in the season. Now, RV, they're 8-5. They've had a good start this year, and they did get back in the win column with a 10-2 victory over Shalleck, a Group 1 opponent, back yesterday. So going into today, after all the overnight rain that we had so much rain overnight that a lot of the games canceled. I texted about 5 coaches this afternoon to see who had a game played, and Dan Haverstick and Rob Christ were the only ones that were planning to play today. So these guys are sticking to their words, and they're meeting at home plate right now. But what I'll tell you about this game is that we're going to see an interesting pitching matchup tonight. Will Martin for Eastern, meanwhile Mason Hill for Rancocas Valley. Hill hasn't had as many innings this year. He's only had 9 on the bump. But meanwhile, Will Martin, he's got 22 strikeouts this year and a sub-3 ERA. For Eastern, we'll have to see if the off day yesterday was able to reset them or if Tuesday's loss was still a sour taste in their mouth. Mason Hill, your starter for Rancocas Valley, comes in with a 5.44 ERA, a 1.67 whip, 2 walks, 2 Ks, 9 strikeouts for the sophomore right-hander. He's going to be facing a very tough Eastern lineup, which is 10-2 on the season, but Rancocas Valley 8-5, sitting pretty in the Olympic American right now in 3rd place. For Rob Christ and the Vikings, their lineup goes as follows. We'll see Vinny Melillo, the shortstop, batting leadoff. Cole Penny is your second baseman. Matt Griskevich is in left field, batting third. Anthony Cataldo is your catcher in the 4 slot. Batting 5th will be, Sean Carback at first base. Richie Iucci is your designated hitter. Brody Smith, the right fielder. Will Martin, the pitcher. Jordan Espino in center field. So we're going to get ready to go. It's 65 degrees here in East Hampton at Rancocas Valley. Mason Hill, the right-hander. It's going to be a hit-by pitch. So the first pitch of the ball game ends up being a plunk. And we'll see Penny, the batter now. Called. Eastern, after the 12-6 loss to Bishop Eustis on Tuesday, just their 2nd loss of the year. They're still undefeated in the Olympic American, but their 2 losses have been to Olympic national opponents. As there's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hill dealing with a base runner after Melillo was hit. Same lineup as Tuesday for Eastern, the only difference being that Martin is the pitcher instead of the 3rd baseman. or excuse me, Martin. Yes, Martin is the pitcher instead of the third baseman. Tolman is field only today at third base. 1-1, strike called. Eastern's 2 losses were to Cherry Hill West back on April the 17th. And then, of course, Tuesday versus Eustis. Hill ready. The 1-2. Outside. And Haverstick, pardon, just expressing his disagreement, even if not in a direct way. To be fair, a lot of coaches do that. It's their way of telling their pitcher that, hey, you're fine, and, you know, the dugout thinks differently, but doesn't mean you have to change your style. It's 3-2. So Melillo on first base, Hill working with a full count, trying to avoid putting 2 runners on for one of Eastern's best hitters in Griskevich. As this ball skied in a deep left field, going back is Stackhouse, and he'll make the catch. He reached over to make that play. Back at first is Melillo. And Karim Stackhouse, using his speed, made that play ranging over in left field, and that's out number 1. That's a great catch. That would have been extra bases if that ball got down, and now it'll be Matt Griskevich, the batter. Griskevich had 2 RBIs in Tuesday's loss to Eustis. Now the first pitch, runner goes. Here comes no throw. That one popped out of the glove of Aiden Gaskell, and the runner will get down to second in Melillo. Yeah, doubleheader going on today here at the RV Sports Complex. Eastern is also playing RV in softball. Back behind us, a very expansive complex. You see soccer, lacrosse, softball, baseball, check swing. That was a half swing that now the third baseman Harrison is going to try to chase him down, but there's no play and everybody's safe. Tough decision there by Malcolm Harrison. I think that he was going to try to get Griskevich at first, and that probably would have been the best decision, but it'll end up being a rare play, a fielder's choice with nobody out on the play. And in that case, the reason why it is because Harrison's first throw was not to first base. He tried to get the runner at second. He was safe. And honestly, I wouldn't really even call that a throwing error because the runner didn't advance. So there's a lot of complexities to that. But at least in a major league scorebook, that would go down as a 5-4 fielder's choice with no out recorded. Stepping off before Hill faces the cleanup man for the Vikings. And Anthony Cataldo. Eastern beat Rancocas Valley 13-3 back on April the 3rd. It was a 7-game winning streak for the Vikings to open up the year. Now both runners go. Gaskell's got a throw down the third. Harrison saved it. But everybody is safe, and that moves runners into second and third for the Vikings. That curveball was high in the zone. They did call that a ball, so it's 1-0, and now Eastern threatening here with 1 out. Hill, the 1-0. Fastball. Skied into shallow right. This is going to actually go on the edge of the infield grass. And a collision. Now the runner's going to tag. Here comes a throw to the plate. No play. So it'll be an odd sacrifice fly. It's caught at second base, and the runner comes home. So it'll be 1-0 Vikings on another unusual play. And the batter will be Carback. In Eastern's 7-game win streak to open up the year, they beat Seneca, RV, and then 3 teams from New York, including Notre Dame of New York twice. That was all at the Wide World of Sports in Central Florida at Disney World. Strike called. They then beat Cherry Hill East and Lenape before falling to Cherry Hill West at home 5-4. And West is still unbeaten at 14-0 going into today. Here's the 0-1 to Carback. This one's popped up, got under it to shallow left field. Stackhouse calls for it. Great job by Krim Stackhouse to call off his shortstop as well. He had the confidence to make that play. And the Vikings score 1 on a sacrifice fly to shallow right field. Go to the bottom of the first. It's the Vikings 1. Red Devils coming to bat after the break. Bring me back. Your starter in a 1-0 lead for Eastern will be Will Martin. He was the third baseman in Tuesday's contest. Comes in with 22 innings, 4 walks, 21 Ks, a 2.86 ERA, and a 1.32 WHIP. So he's going to get the start here for the Eastern in their navy blues with the white pants as the starting lineup for Dan Haverstick and the Red Devils will be as follows. Jalen Alvarez in right field, Joey Sprague the fourth in center field batting second. Henry Adams is your second baseman in the 3 slot. Evan Valley is the shortstop batting fourth. Malcolm Harrison at third base batting fifth. Eddie Rominski is the first baseman in the 6th slot. Varon Del Val is the designated hitter in the 7th slot. Aiden Gaskell, the catcher, batting 8th. And Kareem Stackhouse is your left fielder batting 9th as Jalen Alvarez, one of the hot stars in South Jersey. He'll bat facing Martin here to lead off the bottom of the first. Must be nice to be the leadoff hitter, get an extended walk-up intro, but Alvarez as a junior, batting .421, 16 for 38. Already 3 home runs this year. He has homered in his freshman, sophomore, and junior seasons. And in fact, homered on the road at Shalleck on the 29th. That is a pretty hitter-friendly field, and this for sure is not. This is more like a collegiate level field than a high school field. But I guess that's also because a litany of different teams use it. It's 330 down the lines, 400 to center. It's something about those Olympic Conference parks where that seems to be the case. Cherry Hill West is the same way. Very deep outfield fences. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alvarez with an .895 slugging percentage and 56 career hits. That one is a strike called on the outside corner, 1-2. For RV this year, though, 8-5. Lost to Eastern, as we said, back on Friday the 3rd. They have a 5-game winning streak in mid-April, putting up a lot of great performances versus some good teams. As Alvarez hits this one out to left field, that'll be a base hit. Got to punch that ball on the ground, and Alvarez has the first hit for RV in the first at bat. So it's now going to send up Joey Sprague, the center fielder, with nobody out. In that 5-game winning streak for RV, they beat Seneca, Hopewell Valley, Lenape, Cherokee, and Morristown. Now, Cherokee's been a very odd case this year. with the fact that they won the Group 4 state championship and are now having a deep slide. They're 15th in South Jersey Group 4 power points, which if you told me at the beginning of the season that Cherokee would be 5-7 in their first 12 games, I really wouldn't believe you, because they have the number one pitcher in South Jersey in Cooper Birdie. He's committed to Mississippi State after flipping his commitment from Tennessee. And at the same time, you've got a lot of great guys like Parker New. He's a young kid on this team. Drew Gable, who's a freshman. They've got a lot of very talented ball players on that Cherokee team, but something about them this year, they have struggled to figure it out. They've struggled to win games, and right now they're not even slated, if I'm correct, they're not even slated to be in the Diamond Classic. And if they are, they're a very low seed, somewhere in the 25 to 30 range, as in last team in, if you will. Sprague shows bunt, back pick. Alvarez was well off the bag, and he is out. Not sure what happened there, but a mistake there. Alvarez had a huge lead off of first. And Anthony Cataldo gets more or less a free out there as he takes away the runner at first. I'm really not sure what that was all about, but I stand corrected. Cherokee is listed as 25th, so they are in the Diamond as of now, as of the poll on April 27th, but they would very well be not in the best position. They would play Bishop Eustis on the road. As it stands, Eastern is 6th in that poll, and Rancocas Valley is 10th. So if you want to use the Baseball Coaches Association poll as your true top 25 poll, instead of what NJ.com or South Jersey Sports Zone has, then you can consider both of these teams top 10 programs in South Jersey. Strike called in the outside corner. The on-deck circle would be Adams, and it's 2-2. Top 5 in that bracket is Gloucester Catholic, Northern Burlington, St. Augustine, Cherry Hill West, and Clearview. We'll see Clearview tomorrow versus Washington Township. Our good friend Fred Swartz will be on the call of Rowan University. Longtime public address announcer at Rowan and a former professor there for their athletic programs. It's a 3-2, laced back up the middle. That almost hit the bag. Tough play. Milillo can't get there. The ball trapped under his glove, and it trickles into shallow center field for a base hit. So Joey Sprague hitting it right back up the middle. I mean, that was precise. And he ended up getting a base hit out of it. So with a runner on, it'll be Adams, but you just think that, first of all, if Alvarez stayed on first base, those infielders might have been playing closer to the bag, so there could have been a shot at a double play. But second of all, if that ball gets through, then you have two runners on with nobody out. Now your situation is different, your outlook is different, and therefore your game plan is different. Adams, the batter. Oh, 1 is low. Adams batting .459, 17 for 37, .289 career hitter. And that's mostly because he had a dip of a season in his junior year where he only batted .207. But Haverstick riding the hot hand, putting him in the 3 spot this season, or at least as of now. He has hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games, went 2 for 4 with 2 base hits and 2 stolen bases versus Shalleck in the win yesterday. Throw back to first, not in time. 2-1. We actually covered that non-conference battle last season between Shalleck and Rancocas Valley. Shalleck won the game 10-4, led by Luke Pokrovsky, who threw 6 1/3 that day. As there's a ground ball, that'll be out to second base, picked up. Quick throw is in time. He beats out the speedy runner. It does move Sprague to second, and we'll now see the cleanup man in Evan Valley with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. So 2 singles in the inning. All 3 balls have been put in play. But Evan Valley hitting with a runner at second base and 2 away. Alvarez led off the inning with a single but was picked off, and Sprague singled back up the middle as well. Breaking ball misses inside, 1-0. But Martin, again, a 2.86 ERA for him, 22 strikeouts. In a decent, solid amount of innings as well. He looks back at second. The 1-0 is chopped foul towards the Eastern dugout, and it's 1-1. If the inning continues, Malcolm Harrison would be on deck for Rancocas Valley. If not, it'll be 6, 7, and 8 for the Vikings in the top half of the second. Leading off with Rich Iucci and then Brody Smith and Will Martin, the pitcher. So he'll get a chance to help his own cause here early. This ball shot out to short. Gonna go into left field for a base hit. On his horse, Sprague. Throw is wide. Now back pick to first. He's safe. RBI single Evan Valley, and the game's tied 1-1. And he was able to survive a back pick to first by Anthony Cataldo as RV exits the dugout to congratulate his teammate Sprague. After that base hit, that's the third hit of the inning off of Martin. And it'll now go to the third baseman, Malcolm Harrison. Harrison, the junior, batting .343, career .279 hitter. Has yet to hit an extra base hit in his time with the Red Devils. He has 19 hits, all 19 are singles. He has 11 career RBI, 9 this season after batting .212 in 33 at-bats last year. Foul tip, and it's 0-2. One ball game. We're tied up after an RBI single. 2-strike pitch is high. And the on-deck circle is Rominski, the first baseman. RV had some good defense in the first inning. I mean, obviously there was that fly ball that had a collision, but Kareem Stackhouse, man, 2 great plays in left field, one to get the first out and one for the third as well. It's a swing and a miss. Runner went on the pitch, but Martin's strikeout negates that, and the inning is over. RV and Eastern trade a run in the first inning as the Red Devils get back in the score column with an RBI single. Through 1 in East Hampton, we're tied up at 1.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Top of the second inning here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. 1-1 ball game. Tied up here in the second inning with Mason Hill and Will Martin trading off a run. That one's outside. Quick time for the first base coach to get out there for Eastern as that one's away. 2 balls, no strikes. Hill delivers. That one's outside, 3-0. For Rancocas Valley, they are 2-3 in their last 5 games. Took a loss to Kingsway on Monday the 20th, a game that we were here for. A 7-3 loss to Shawnee. And a 9-0 loss to Cherry Hill West. Not in that order. In between them was a 12-0 win over Camden Catholic, who has not been having the best of years. They're 1-10 this season. They beat Shalleck yesterday, 10-2. But this is still game 3 of a 3-game back-to-back-to-back, as this ball's skied. The sun could be a problem today in the shallow left center field. Sprague is there, and he'll make the catch. Stackhouse gave him a chase, and so did Valley. But the catch is made for out number 1, as the batter will now be Brody Smith. Smith had the final RBI of the game in Eastern's loss on Tuesday. They got a run back in the 7th inning. It was 12-5. Eustis in that game took advantage of a 6-run 5th inning to really put a crooked number on the board and put that game more or less out of reach. And it was win number 803 for Sam Tropiano, the legendary head coach at Bishop Eustis. And it's not like there's much rest after this either. RV plays today, and they're off Friday, but they'll play Saturday versus Haddonfield. 2 balls, no strikes. And Haddonfield, a strong contender in South Jersey Group 2. They're right now, first of all, they were the sectional champions of that group last year. And second of all, they're right now 3rd in the power points for that bracket. And they're 9-3 as there's a strike called. And then they'll go on the road versus Cherry Hill East. And after that, they'll have another 3-game homestand for the Red Devils, Lenape, Eustis, and Burlington Township. There's the 2-1. Fouled back by Smith. I think it got a piece of the batter, but it's 2-2. For Smith, he's batting .370 this year. 10 for 27 and 5 RBI. Hill delivers. Another one fouled back behind the plate. So the pitcher, Martin, runs out to get that baseball. He's in the on-deck circle. If you're just joining us, 1-1 ball game. Eastern took home a run in the top of the 1st inning. Sacrifice fly to shallow right field. And RV got one back on an RBI single by Evan Valley. Fastball hit out to right center field by Smith. This is going to be playable for Alvarez, and he'll make that play, can of corn, for out number 2. That's one of those stories that I like to have fun with, the can of corn stemming from the factory workers of Chicago in the early 1900s, where the literal canned goods in the first advent of refrigeration and advancements in food technology, the factory workers had to catch the physical cans of food as it was coming off the assembly line. It would be from above them, and they would have to stick out their aprons to make the catch. And, of course, baseball being America's pastime, it was integrated into that. So the line of that ball being a can of corn, as in an easy catch, stemmed from the factory workers out in the industrial parts of America, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Milwaukee. And that one's high, 1-2. And it stemmed from that, and those workers having to quite literally catch the cans. I don't know where they got corn specifically, but you'd have to imagine it had something to do with the farmlands out in the Midwest. And there's strike 3. No, outside. 2-2. Hill started to walk off the hill, and so did Gaskell, but stays alive at 2-2. If the inning continues, Espino will be next. Hill readjusting. Base is empty. He's had a fly out and a pop out so far this inning, and that one misses at the letters, 3-2. 65 degrees at first pitch here at Rancocas Valley. Had a lot of overnight rain last night. I mean, it started at around 6 o'clock, and it really ran all throughout the night which is why a handful of games were postponed today, and that's ball 4. And again, that's one thing that RV is not going to be too thrilled about, is that they thought they could have had strike 3 there, but instead it turns into a walk. That's your butterfly effect for you. But we'll go to the number 9 batter in Espino, the center fielder. They will have a courtesy runner at first base. That is number 25 in Landon Burkhart at first base. First free pass surrendered by Hill today in the early going. So here's Jordan Espino. One thing that I'll say, and this could come off the wrong way, but yesterday with Eustace hitting 4 home runs, Espino was involved on almost all of them because he was the center fielder, and Eustace's home runs almost always went to center field. And one thing that I noticed, he scaled the fence in center field almost every time. Like, he was halfway hanging over the yellow line in center field because he wanted to make a catch. That's a team player. He didn't just, like, look up and watch it fly. He literally, even if he thought that that ball was going to go out, I don't know how he did it because the outfield wall is tarped, but he like climbed halfway up the scale of the fence in center field at Bishop Eustace. It was unbelievable. It was like an accompaniment to not only the home run, but it was like, wow, this ball is popped up to first base. And it's taken in for out number 3. So Mason Hill with a relatively clean second inning. He gets all 3 outs in play and allows one walk. Through an inning and a half here at the RV Sports Complex, tied at 1. Bottom of the second inning here at Rancocas Valley. It'll be 6, 7, and 8 for the Red Devils. Leading off with Eddie Rominski. Rominski rolls over to second base, picked up. No, it's bobbled. It goes under the glove at second base by Penny, and that's a fielding error. And Rob Chris telling him, hey, you got to set up, that's a short throw, and he's absolutely right. He's saying to his second baseman more or less that, you know, listen, he was ready for the ball, and then the ball just got to him, and I don't think he expected it coming as quickly as it did, even though it was a short roller. So Eddie Rominski, who looked like he was going to be for sure out on the play, now gets a gift, and he'll reach base on the error. Martin set, nods and delivers. Fastball up, 1-0. Rominski goes back to first. So second inning in a row out of today that RV has put a leadoff runner on. Alvarez had the base hit to lead off the first inning, but he was picked off. Martin delivers. Outside, 2-0. Two balls, no strikes to Del Val. And then it'll be Aiden Gaskell, the catcher. Martin delivers. Strike called, 2-1. Del Val, the junior, 1 for 7. This is his first varsity season. His one hit came in the 9-0 loss to Cherry Hill West on Tuesday. He had a double in that game. It was his first varsity hit, but he's getting another opportunity in Game 3 of this 3-day-in-a-row stretch. But RV will have 4 games in their in 5 days, with Tuesday versus West, Wednesday versus Shalleck, today versus Eastern, and Saturday versus Haddonfield on the road. The 2-2. This one's laced into left field. How about varsity hit number 2? This could be double number 2. Green light from third. Now they're going to wait for this throw to come in. He gets into second base, so how about Varon Del Val? Double to left field. It's his second varsity hit, and he's now 2 for 2 with extra base hits. That puts 2 runners in scoring position for the Red Devils. Hayden Gaskell coming to the plate. There's some singing going on in that dugout. I guess they're singing his walk-up song. It's like it's High School Musical all over again. We're singing in the dugout. There's a swing and a miss. 0-1. But Gaskell batting in a big spot. Runners in scoring position here. Second and third. Nobody out. The E4 by Rominski, I should say off the bat of Rominski, could end up being a big changer here in this second inning as RV looks to take the lead. This ball's laced, or pardon, blooped into center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Runners go on the drop. Scoring is Rominski. It's an RBI single for Aiden Gaskell, and it's 2-1, Rancocas Valley. Can't complain about that if you're Aiden Gaskell. Got a hit, got something going, put the ball down, put the ball in play, and RV now takes a 2-1 lead as he scores Rominski. Del Val to third. And an RBI single for Gaskell. It'll bring up Kareem Stackhouse. Stackhouse shows bunt, puts the ball in play. They're going to shovel to the plate. The throw is out at home. That was a nice play by Will Martin, was able to get that down at home. And that'll be out number 1, but it'll end up being an unsuccessful sacrifice, as it will end up being a 1-2 fielder's choice. Stackhouse to first, Gaskell to second base, although they do have a runner for him, and Del Val is out at home. So we'll go back to the top of the order for Jalen Alvarez. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Alvarez had a base hit in the bottom of the first inning, but he was picked off. Had a big lead off of first base, and Anthony Cataldo took advantage of it on a back pick. Oh, 1. That one's high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runners on first and second for the Red Devils. It's Stackhouse on first and the courtesy runner for Gaskell on second base. Time called by Alvarez. As we said, Alvarez already with 3 home runs on the season, although this is not a very hitter-friendly ballpark. This definitely plays advantageous to the pitcher. His first home run of the year came versus Lenape on the road. His second came versus Cherokee at home. And as we said, he homered yesterday in the 10-2 win over Shalleck. So those are two of 3 on the road. The only one here in East Hampton that he hit out was versus Cherokee. 1 ball, 2 strikes. After the changeup on the outside corner, Martin readjusts. And he'll get another go at it. Here's the 1-2. Alvarez takes one low, golfs it to left field. This one could be troubled down into the corner, sliding is Grzkiewicz, no play. And he'll get a chunk of dirt in his cleat, as that'll be 1-2 with the ball getting out of play. Love those Eastern navy blue jerseys. They wore their red alternates on Tuesday, and Rob Chris told me that those are brand new, but the numbers are designed from the Los Angeles Angels number set. If one of these players has their back turned, we'll show you, but you can kind of see it. But they're very old school uniforms, and I really like them. They have 4 total uniform sets that they can choose from. There's a swing and a miss. Martin gets Alvarez swinging, and there's 2 away. Fastball at the letters is out number 2. So Sprague will be the batter. He singled and scored in his first at bat. But yeah, Eastern has the red alternates that they wore Tuesday. They have the navy blues, which I would say is my favorite. They have a white standard top. There's a strike called. And the JV team behind us is wearing a heather blue jersey, which is also what the JV team wore on Tuesday. But I went to Audubon. We had one jersey when I was a sophomore. It was a green, almost like a seafoam green top, because the Audubon green is closer to like a Seattle Mariners green instead of a Oakland Athletics, let's say. And then they had the gray pants. Even if they were home, they would wear gray pants. And then when I was a senior, they adopted these really vibrant yellow jerseys, yellow tops, yellow pants with green pinstripes. And I think that they're fine, but they've finally gone back to adopting a second set where they have those yellow tops as their home jersey, and the green, it's a new jersey, but it's in the same style as the old one. Green tops, gray pants. 2 balls, 1 strike to Sprague. And I was talking with Rob Christ as well. I said, listen, I would prefer it if they wore the yellow tops with white pants, because that feels like a lot easier. But at the same time, though, I am a baseball traditionalist by all means, and I'm certainly not a huge fan of all these teams that are adopting, having the same color pants as the top. I just think that it looks like a slow pitch softball team and doesn't look professional. 3-1. Martin looks back to second several times, now delivers outside. And the bases are loaded for Rancocas Valley. So don't count them out now after they lost 13-3 in Game 1 of this season series. We're now seeing a lot of life out of the Red Devils on their home turf. It's Gaskell to third, Stackhouse to second. No, Gaskell does have a runner, but can't see his jersey number. We'll now see Rob Christ come out. Not sure if he's going to take the ball from him or if he's just going to talk to him, but on Tuesday, he let Rich Iellucci run until the absolute brink, which he made it to 111 pitches. He made it all the way to what the state would allow, so he can't pitch for a minimum of 5 days. Because the rule is, in one standard outing, you can't have more than 110 pitches. And over the span of 5 days, you can't have 150. So let's say if you played like RV is doing, 4 games in 5 days, you would have, let's say you throw 40 pitches in Game 1, you'd have to rest a day. You throw in Game 3 and you throw 60 pitches, that's 100 total. Runner at third looks like it's James Bovey, number 1. But the bases are loaded. Here in the bottom of the second inning, RV leads this one 2-1. Batter is Adams. Two outs. Ducks on the pond everywhere. Good crowd on hand here at RV. The RV Sports Complex. Martin looks back at second again. Infielders not holding the bags closely, and there's a strike called. Breaking ball. I feel like it's a rather equal crowd, too. feel like about the same amount of RV parents are here as Eastern parents. There's some that are tucked in the corner out of my view, but saw them before the game. Saw very familiar faces as to who we saw on Tuesday. Here comes a throw back to second, and it gets away. Goes into right center field. Here comes Beauvais. He will score. Stackhouse stops at third. Everybody moves in. It's a throwing error by Martin, and it's 3-1 RV. So that moves everybody up, and it scores Beauvais from third. As a 2-run frame here in the bottom of the second inning gives Rancocas Valley an early edge. Chopper foul down the third base line. Got some height on that ball, but it ends up coming down in foul grounds, and it's 0-2. Three to 1 RV. Bottom of the second inning, 3-1 ball game, but RV threatening with more here with the bases loaded. Off of Martin, the 0-2, skied. There's room to run, but this is going to go out of play. It's 0-2. Adams grounded out to second base in his first at bat. The batter after him, who would bat if the inning continued, Evan Valley, had the RBI single that opened up the scoring for the Red Devils. Martin taking his time. Puts the ball in the glove. He's set. And the 0-2. Breaking ball outside, appeal to second. Says no. And it's 1-2. A lot of suspense there. Catcher immediately signaled for an appeal, but the second base umpire, I don't think he saw it right away. So he did not have a call right away either, but he said no, and it's 1-2. Again, if the inning continues, Evan Valley would be next for the Red Devils. The 1-2, breaking ball outside. And that's a good strategy by Henry Adams because he came very close to wavering at that exact same pitch. It's like an 0-2 waste, but instead of breaking down and out, it just breaks out. You know, it meets you at around the belt level. It would have been a strike on one plane, but not on the other. The 2-2. This one's laced into left field, hit pretty well. Going back, Kriskevich, and he'll make the play to retire the side. So Rancocas Valley leaves the bases loaded, but not without some effort. They put home 2 runs on an RBI single by Aiden Gaskell and a throwing error by Eastern's pitcher. We go to the third, 3-1 Red Devils. Get ready? Welcome back. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on their first attempt. Book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road, just minutes from Route 55. Milillo leads off the third as strike called outside corner. Here from East Hampton, I'm Dan Wilkins, Rock Roberson, my producer of Rancocas Valley High School. We'll be on the air in the Tri-County Royal Division tomorrow with a battle between Washington Township and Clearview from what is affectionately known as the Bog. High chopper grounded to second base, picked up in time. Rominski makes the play, and there's out number one, so it'll now be Penny, the second baseman. But a big way for Martin to get out of the jam. I mean, 2 runs isn't nothing, but it's also not what it could have been. Adams, that ball could have gotten down, and it could have been an ugly inning for Eastern. But they're able to limit it to 2 runs. Strike called. That one misses at the letters to Penny. Phillies playing a doubleheader, had to walk off in game 1. I'm quite disappointed that I didn't get to go yesterday. I had a ticket, and I'll tell you the story because we are in the 3rd inning, and you got to let the game breathe a little bit. So with the Phillies and the Flyers being both home for their playoff games, for the Flyers playoff game and for the Phillies regular season game versus the Giants, I said, well, I don't want to park in Philly. That would be a bad idea. I think that getting out of the game, especially if those 2 games ended at the same time, which, considering that the Flyers game ended around 10, if the Phillies had played a full 9-inning game yesterday, that would have been a nightmare getting out. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to pay for parking. I'll just take the train over. So that's what I ended up doing. And strike is called, 3-2. Now, from where I am, which was the Collingswood Patco station, to the Citizens Bank Park, it takes about 50 minutes to get there on train. But you are saving a lot of money that way, and you save yourself a headache at the end of the game. This one's popped up and caught by Rominski for the second out, pardon. So Milillo grounded out to second, and now Penny pops out to first, as it'll be Griskevich. But if you've ever ridden the Philadelphia subway systems, or really any subway system, you know that it's very difficult to get cell service. So I was having a great old conversation with people that I had never met before. It was a couple of San Francisco Giants fans. Their names were Russell and Angelina. They had been married for 30 years, and they were visiting Philly for the first time. So I was telling them about the city and about things to do around the place, and we had a great time. And then I get right in front of the gate, and they flash the sign that says today's game has been postponed. And you could not believe how upset I was. But you know what? Sometimes things happen in life that you can't control. Pop out to first base ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. RV 3, Eastern 1. 3-1 Rancocas Valley in the bottom of the third inning. Your batter to lead off will be Evan Valley. Again, tomorrow it'll be Washington Township and Clearview. Saturday will be Steiner and Northern Burlington. In non-conference play, the CVC versus the BCSL. And then next week, it's going to be a little bit of everything. As you know, the Diamond Classic starts next week. The seating will come out on Saturday. We'll find out where we're going. Not that we have an assignment or anything, but the first round will have to be played by May the 7th. And the second round is to be played at a neutral site on May the 9th. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss by Valley on a fastball. Valley, Harrison, and Raminsky, 4, 5, and 6 for the Red Devils. For next week for us, it'll be Cherokee and Lenape on Monday, another Olympic American ball game, and then we'll be at Joe Barth Field on Tuesday for Williamstown and Gloucester Catholic. This one's hit in the shallow right center. This one could be trouble. It is not. Ends up being brought down in right field for the first out. Let's flash back to the bottom of the second here. This fielder's choice that came home, forgot to show the replay of it. Great defensive play by Will Martin after Kareem Stockhouse got this bunt down. Definitely beat the runner that time, so that was the right call. I just forgot to highlight it when we had the chance, but Malcolm Harrison will be your batter. It's hard to believe how many games were canceled today with how beautiful the weather is, but really it's the field conditions from yesterday that trickled over. But as I was saying with the Phillies game, I met these wonderful people on the subway getting to the ball game, and then that's going to be hit by pitch. So Harrison gets to first. So he'll wear one, and Raminsky will be the batter. I just think it's neat. Like, I've taken the train to and from Phillies games in the past, and even from Flyers games. And I ask myself, I say, well, if I'm sitting in traffic in your car or whatever, I'd rather just be having a conversation with somebody, or standing around. You're at least moving. But here's Raminsky, swing and a miss. I enjoy it for what it's worth. I think that it's a very efficient way to get to and from Phillies games, and the fact that we have the Patco line that takes you from Philly into Jersey. I do it for Orioles games as well. Take the light rail from Towson to Baltimore as there's a ground ball. This could be 2, 4, 6, 3. Double play. Great defensive work by Eastern to avoid any trouble as they get a double play to turn to retire the side. Go to the top of the fourth here at East Hampton. It's RV 3 and Eastern 1.
Book Dog Pro Wrestling for your next event or outing for the greatest action that New Jersey Pro Wrestling has to offer. Any place, any time, any setting, Dog Pro Wrestling will bring the action to you, and you won't want to miss it for moments like this. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestling ambassador.
This is Max Mundo with Dog Pro Wrestling. Are you a civic organization, sporting club looking to fundraise? Then look no further to Dog Pro Wrestling. We do grand openings, corporate events, and much more.
And why not from some of the wrestling talent themselves?
I'm Vinny the Fixer, and I'm the champion of Dog Professional Wrestling. If you want to book the best, come see us. We're the cream of the crop. We'll come to any fundraiser you can think of. Just name the place and we'll show up.
This is the upstanding Dylan Mesh, and for the entirety of my professional wrestling career, dog wrestling has been a mainstay for where I like to wrestle. So you can believe me when I say that it is quality. And I'm upstanding. I'm the only opinion you need.
Yeah.
Top of the fourth inning. If you'd like to make a contribution to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, you can send us anything you'd like on our Venmo at DW Broadcasting. The vast majority of games that we cover are mostly for the love of the game and also for the advancement of these athletes in South Jersey, along with the advancement of our careers in sports media. As that first pitch misses low, I, for myself, am a second-year student at Rowan College of South Jersey. In a year, I will transfer to Rowan University to pursue a degree in sports communications and media. So to help out sports broadcasting and sports journalism in South Jersey, if you'd like, you can send anything to our Venmo at DW Broadcasting. Of course, our broadcasts will always be free to watch. It is just incredibly appreciated if you do so. 4, 5, and 6 for Eastern in the top of the fourth inning. Clean third for both sides. A hit by pitch to Malcolm Harrison, but a double play immediately followed, as it'll be Cataldo, Carback, and Iolucci. 2 balls, 1 strike. That one misses. As it stands right now, if everything holds up in that, we were talking about a few innings ago, the Diamond Classic, with that seeding on Saturday, Eastern as the 6th team right now would face the number 27 seed in that poll. Now, of course, that's if everything holds, which it most likely won't, as Cataldo gets a roller to third. Harrison is there, and it's in time. They would play Lenape in the first round, which is another Olympic American opponent. Meanwhile, Rancocas Valley would play the number 22 team, which would be Highland. Both of those games will be at home, and then from there on out, neutral sites. David and I talked about the Diamond Classic at length in our podcast, The South Jersey Starting Nine. That episode dropped last night. I'm using too much YouTuber lingo. The episode released last night at 8 o'clock, and we got to talk about a lot of different topics, including the very odd coaching dismissal at Burlington Township, as there's a base hit in the left field by Carback, picked up by Kareem Stackhouse, and he'll bring that one in. So runner on for Eastern, but they're still running with the old format from last year where the quarterfinals and the semifinals are in the same day, and it's I've said it ad nauseum that I'm not a fan of having 2 Diamond Classic games in one day. I think that it's really demeaning to the nature of the tournament. If you wanted to do 2 games in one day, first of all, you find fields that have lights, because you could run your first round game at, say, 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. and then have your second round game at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Saturday night baseball. Showing bunt, pulls back, strike call, Iolucci. Iolucci batting with a runner on and 1 away. 3-1 ball game in favor of the Red Devils. Here's the 1-1. Strike called. Beautiful changeup by Mason Hill. Found the outer half of the zone. And it's 1-2. I'm looking at the sky. I mean, it's perfect weather today here at RV. Hill ready. Eastern dugout egging on their batter as throwback to first, not in time. Rominski didn't apply a tag. As we said, next week on DWB, first of all, on Sunday, we will have the ABHA National Championships down in Belmar, starting at 12 noon. Fouled back, still 1-2. And then Monday will be Cherokee and Lenape at 3:45 from Medford. We'll have Jaden Kate on the call. And on Tuesday, it'll be Williamstown and Gloucester Catholic. The Diamond Classic games are completely to be determined. We don't know what the bracket will be, but you know, privately, I have a few ideas in mind of what games we'd like to cover if the bracket holds. If you get my mojo, that's what I'm getting at. The 1-2. That one is high, 2-2. And not to mention on Friday the 8th, we'll have Cape Atlantic non-conference baseball between Pleasantville and Wildwood down at Maxwell Field, 7 p.m. first pitch. Ready to go, the 2-2. That one's grounded. Harrison diving stop. It's airmailed, and he's out at first. That's a close call, but Harrison with a diving stop, a sliding stop, pardon, at third base. Chris doesn't seem to argue it, but it'll be Smith, the batter. Iolucci was very surprised that he was out. We'll take a look at that play as well, but that will move the runner to second base, and it'll be out number 2 in the inning. So how about that? Fantastic play by Malcolm Harrison. And the batter now is Smith. 7-hole hitter here. This ball's clubbed into deep left field, but it's going to stay in the ballpark. Stackhouse is there. Looked better off the bat, but the inning is over, and Eastern is held off the board. Let's take a look at this play. Malcolm Harrison, sliding stop at third base for the second out of the inning, and he keeps Eastern off the board here in the top of the fourth. Red Devils lead 3-1. And it gets past everybody. Graham will go back to position with no goal scored. They'll count down the time out loud here. Out to the left. One final shot, and it gets through. How about a buzzer beater? How do you do? It's a lead extending goal for Justin Lewis.
Doubleheader. Reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away.
Bottom of the fourth inning, this broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. They have an event going on this Saturday as New Jersey's premier independent pro wrestling organization. They'll be at Pinelands Regional High School in Little Lake Harbor, New Jersey in Ocean County with the event starting at 7 p.m. Visit dawgprowrestling.com for more information. Strike called to start the to start the bottom of the fourth. Delval, Gaskell, and Stackhouse. This is inside. 1-1. Our second time seeing RV this year saw them on April the 20th versus Kingsway. They lost that game 4-3 as Delval pops this one up. Shallow center field now calling for it and making the catch will be Espino for out number 1. So here's Gaskell. Gaskell comes from a long line of success at RV. His older sister in Lauren Gaskell was a star for Rancocas Valley in the late 2000s, was the New Jersey Player of the Year by Gatorade in 2009 and 2010. She went on to have an illustrious career at Virginia Tech softball, where she broke multiple records and kept Rancocas Valley proud. First pitch was a strike called to Aiden Gaskell, but that's one thing that the deeper you get into the journalistic side of sports in South Jersey, and really anywhere, you learn about the families. You know, not just the individual players, but the line of players that come after them. Here's the 0-2. For example, I went to Audubon High School. if you think of Audubon High School, the alumnus that comes to mind first is Joe Flacco, the longtime quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens and Super Bowl winning quarterback in 2013. Martin, the 1-2, low. But not only was there Joe Flacco, there was also Brian Flacco, who played in the early 2010s, and he was the youngest of the bunch. He had 100 hits for Audubon baseball. And then there was Tommy Flacco, who also ended up playing football at the Division I level and got a practice squad opportunity with the the San Diego Chargers back in 2010. 3-2 to Gaskell. Martin exhales. He's ready to go. And he's chopped. First base side. It'll go out of play. And count remains full. Kareem Stackhouse on deck for RV. But Cinnaminson has that as well with the Stener-Lovich sisters. Mia Stener-Lovich, Ava Stener-Lovich, Lauren Stener-Lovich. They all are basically royalty in Cinnaminson women's basketball and have all gone on to play at the collegiate level when they either are done high school or when they have played high school. Gaskell goes down looking. That's out number 2, and now it'll be Kareem Stackhouse, the 9-hitter. Only the 3rd strikeout for Will Martin. I will say he's done a good job of protecting the zone. He's only allowed the 1 walk and 1 hit by pitch. So he has been good in his command as a ground ball over the middle. Melillo gets a nice hop. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. We're through 4 here in East Hampton. It's the Red Devils 3 and the Vikings 1 after the break. To end the day for Luke Pokrovsky. Little pop-up, first base side, he calls for it, and for the first time in 33 years, the Charlotte Cougars will hoist the trophy and face Middlesex on Monday. 4-3, Cougars win it. And in the battle of green and gold, the trophy stays true with the visitors. What a finish! And Shalleck will pack their bags for Middlesex and the Blue Jays when the weekend turns around to Monday. Top of the 5th inning here at East Hampton. It's 3-1, Rancocas Valley. A lot of early offense, and it's been ho-hum since. Eastern got a run in the top of the 1st on a a sacrifice fly by Anthony Cataldo. Strike is called. In the bottom half of the 1st, RV responded with an RBI single. They added on 2 runs in the 2nd, and we have not seen any offense since in the 3rd or 4th. That one's low. I feel like the last couple of games that we've done at the high school level have been so high scoring that it doesn't feel normal to have 2 full innings without any run scoring, but really these pitchers have been settled in Mason Hill and Will Martin for Eastern. Strike called, 1-2. Beautiful 12-6 curveball there by the right-hander Hill, who, as we said, is only a sophomore, has a 5.44 ERA going into this game with 9 innings. Chopper to short, backhanded by Adams, fires to first, it's in time. A strong throw to retire Martin, the pitcher, and Espino, the center fielder, will bat. Espino, 0 for 1, popped out to first base in the second inning. But yeah, our originally scheduled game today was Mercer County at Rowan College in Deptford Township. That game was not postponed, but it was rather moved to Mercer. It's a non-division game, so the home and away team doesn't make a worlds of difference, but they ended up playing that game at Mercer. It's in progress now. That's a swing and a miss. But that was our originally scheduled game, and when that got moved, we said, well, I can go home and I can not do anything, or we can find a high school game to cover. So I texted about 5 different coaches, and Rob Christ was one of them, and I said, do you guys plan to play today? Appeal to first on the check swing is no good, 1 and 2. I texted Eastern, I texted Williamstown. I think the other ones were Morristown and I can't remember what the other one was. I think Morristown was one. I think PVI was another. And Williamstown said they were still playing, so I had 2 decisions to make. I said, do I go to RV and see a team that I saw 2 days ago in Eastern, or do I go to Williamstown and cover a team that they were playing that was 3 and 8? And I just decided get the better matchup. There's strike 3, inside corner. Strikeout called by Mason Hill on a beautiful curveball in the inside half. Funny enough, that's his first strikeout of the game. Every other ball that Eastern has hit has been put in play. I mean, I guess sometimes being a contact pitcher it's certainly a bygone era, but it's a nice attribute to have if you can command your stuff. He led off the game with a hit by pitch. His runner Melillo came in to score on that sacrifice fly. He's allowed only 1 hit, which was a base hit to left by Sean Carback. Strike called, 0-2. For RV in the bottom of the 5th inning, it'll be 1, 2, and 3. Alvarez, Sprague, and Adams. No balls, 2 strikes. Hill delivers. That one's high. I mean, obviously, if you're in an 0-2 count with the bases empty, you really want to be conservative, but that was still a good take by Melillo. That ball was high, but he's thrown several 12-6 curveballs that have been in that range and then ducked down, so still a good decision to take it. That one's fouled back over our heads on the JV field. It's funny, they're going to let the JV game play on with that ball out there. That happens all the time here, though, at RV, with those fields being backed up to each other. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Melillo. Rolls it over. Out to second base. Weak contact. Adams is there, and it's in time. Great ground out, and that's now 5 clean innings for Mason Hill, who's only allowed 1 hit in the ball game. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's RV 3, Eastern 1. Jalen Alvarez leads us off in the bottom of the 5th inning, 1, 2, and 3 for the Red Devils as Will Martin and Mason Hill have been settled in. Here's a first pitch ground ball straight to first base. Foot race to the bag, and it's taken in for out number 1 as Carback, the commit to Rowan College, gets the out. And it'll be Joey Sprague, the center fielder. Sprague has reached base twice. He's 1 for 1. And now another first pitch ground ball picked up at ease. Throw to first is in time. 2 pitches, 2 outs. And it'll now be Henry Adams. Sometimes in this situation, if you've got 2 pitches and 2 outs, sometimes this third hitter will take not only 1 but maybe even 2 pitches to try to. Because remember, Will Martin, he comes into this inning with that was his 65th and 66th pitch. And exactly that. I was going to be very surprised if he swung. Now, was that a hittable pitch? For sure. But you really don't want to get the pitcher into the rhythm by getting out of the inning too quickly. Sometimes you really do want to see what you've got first. And I've seen hitters that will never swing at the first pitch. Now, that can be advantageous because you get a look first, but it can be disadvantageous if the pitcher knows that and you get a strike right down the middle that you very well could have done something with. It's just impossible to predict. A bunt foul makes it 1 and 2. But talk about a quick frame if they can get out of this quickly. And also that would be good for Mason Hill because he'll get out there quickly. We see a lot of times games fall apart because pitchers don't, they take too much time resting. And even if the worst case scenario is if a team loads the bases but doesn't get any runs, you get a long break before you throw again, but you don't get any of the benefits of actually getting run support. How about this? So 2 pitches, 2 outs, and then it takes 4 to get out number 3. A blazing fast bottom of the 5th inning here in East Hampton. It's the Red Devils 3 and the Vikings 1. Top of the 6th inning. If you're a small business owner interested in advertising with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, send us an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That's THEDANWILKINSSHOW@gmail.com. We offer affordable advertising packages for all kinds of businesses, from brick and mortar stores to online brands to everything in between. As this ball's hit well in left field by Penny, going back Stackhouse, he'll make the catch in left. Great play. How about Kareem Stackhouse? He's made a handful of great plays in left field. That's the first out of the 6th. After a 6-pitch bottom of the 5th inning. And the Red Devils and the Vikings looking for the first glimmer of offense since the 2nd inning. Matt Griskevich will be the batter after Penny flew out to left. Griskevich reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning. He's 0 for 2. And Penny, the batter before him, 0 for 3. Mason Hill's got to be player of the game. I mean, if RV wins this, after Hill, who came into the game with 9 innings, a 5.4 ERA, and he's allowed 1 hit and 5 1/3, and he's only struck out 1 batter. Eastern has put the ball in play, which A, means that this RV defense has been good behind them. And B, it means that Hill has the confidence of his fielders that he's not getting nervous when this ball's getting put in play. Like this. Fly ball, shallow right field, and Alvarez makes the catch. You could hear a pin drop on the way down, but one thing that didn't drop was the baseball. It was taken in by Alvarez, and that's a very shallow out number 2 as Anthony Cataldo will be the batter. But again, that's exactly what I'm talking about. There are many teams, maybe a majority of teams, where a play like that is either incredibly complicated or it drops. That's a base hit in a lot of ballparks. And I'm not even saying that as a dimensions problem. I'm saying that as a defense problem. In a lot of places, for a lot of teams, that ball does not stay in the air. So kudos to Jalen Alvarez. Kudos to Kareem Stackhouse. This outfield for RV, and along with the infield. Malcolm Harrison made a sliding play earlier in the game. There's been some good pop-ups that Raminsky has chased down. All in all, it's been a great game. Another strike called, and it's 0-2. In the bottom of the 6th inning for the Red Devils, it'll be Valley, Harrison, and Raminsky, 4, 5, and 6. Hill, the 0-2, lined into left field. That goes off the glove of Valley. Diving attempt, but no cigar, and that'll be hit number 2 for Eastern here in this game as Hill. I mean, that's a base hit, especially for the fact that it's not ordinary effort by the shortstop. And Cataldo gets the base hit. He had the first run of the game, and to this point, only run of the game for Eastern with that sacrifice fly in the first inning. Sean Carback, the batter, he has the only other hit for Eastern, a base hit to left in the 5th inning. Pardon, in the 4th. That wasn't a strike called, 0-1. But Martin will enter the 6th if he stays in the game, that is, with 70 pitches. And Hill's been doing well as well. He's been just under 65. But he's thrown a lot of first pitch strikes, and that is a huge barometer for a pitcher being successful. Can you get strikeouts? Sure. Can you throw hard? Absolutely. But what matters the most in being a successful program, especially at the high school level, is throwing first pitch strikes. Being able to command the zone consistently, limit walks, and limit base runners. And, of course, that's a 2-part equation. Just like this, the throw down to second. He got him! Aiden Gaskell gets the throw. And the inning is over. A throw down at second base, and Gaskell shows off the arm to retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning here in East Hampton. Potentially last swings for the Red Devils as they'll look for insurance. It's 3-1 in favor of Rancocas Valley. This has been a pitcher's duel from start to finish. We had a lot of offense in the early innings, but no runs have scored since the bottom of the second inning. Let's bring you back through it. Eastern got on the board first with a sacrifice fly by Anthony Cataldo, and then RV tied up the game in the bottom of the first inning with an RBI single by Evan Valley. Now Valley over to short, picked up on the first pitch. And how about Will Martin? He has now retired the last 4 batters in 7 pitches. And if you're Rob Christ, you like that because you get out of the innings quickly. And for Eastern, they're going to have an easy breeze going into the weekend. You know, in terms of preserving your arms and preserving your folks, as the batter will be Harrison. They do not play this weekend. Their next game will be Monday the 4th versus Shawnee as a strike is called. 0-1. 3 home games for Eastern next week, so they'll be setting up shop in Voorhees. They've got Monday versus Shawnee, Wednesday versus Cherry Hill East, and Thursday versus Camden Catholic. Counts 0-2. Let's take a look at the Olympic Conference American Division standings. Eastern is 10-2, Shawnee 9-5, Rancocas Valley 8-5. Lenape with 2 games won this week, they're 8-6, and Cherokee's 5-7. Cherry Hill East at the bottom of the division at 3-9. Ground ball to second base is picked up for out number 2. I can't remember the last game I've seen to have this many balls put in play, and it being that low score, because usually pitchers' duels mean a lot of batters are striking out, but Will Martin only has 3 strikeouts, and Mason Hill only has 1. So 6 innings combined between these two pitchers, both running extremely efficient pitch counts, but they're not also wavering at the ball. Like when they make contact, it's pretty solid. But we're seeing a lot of sharp ground balls, we're seeing a lot of rollovers, and we're seeing a lot of weak fly balls. But it's very quickly 0-2. So 2 outs, nobody on for Rominski. And another ground ball. Is this game in fast forward or what? Another quick inning for Will Martin. Somebody slow down the VHS deck. We'll go to the 7th inning here in East Hampton. Last swing for the Vikings. After the break, 3-1 RV. Back here from Rancocas Valley Sports Complex, Mason Hill looking for a complete game effort versus the Olympic American Division leader in Eastern. They're looking to avoid their 2nd straight loss, which would make me feel bad because it would make me feel like a bad luck charm for these Vikings. But they lost 12-6 to Bishop Eustis on Tuesday, which we were there for. Bishop Eustis blasted 2 home runs in the game. Strike is called, 1-1. Carback, the batter, 5, 6, and 7. Carback, Iolucci, and that's going to be a base hit in the left field. So Carback, who restarted his at-bat after the runner was thrown out at second base, gets another mulligan, and this time it's a base hit to left field, his 2nd of the day, and only the 3rd allowed by Mason Hill. Now the question is, if you're RV, how short of a leash do you hold Hill? You know, is it if another runner gets on, if two more runners get on, because you have to walk this fine line where if you allow Hill to work too long with him being in trouble, the risk of a complete game effort could be spoiled by a late comeback effort by Eastern. Strike was called to Iolucci. He's 0 for 2 today. Runner on first. Throw back, not in time. Rominski picks that one up. RV with a win will improve to 9-5, or would improve to 9-5. After beating Shalleck 10-2 yesterday. This is their third game in as many days, and their will be their fourth in 5 days. Cherry Hill West on Tuesday, they lost 9-0. Beat Shalleck yesterday 10-2. This is game 3. And then they will play Haddonfield on the road on Saturday, their fourth in 5 days. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. That's the second strikeout for Mason Hill. And it's out number 1 as it comes to Tuesday's pitcher from Eastern, Rich Iolucci. Also a commit to Rowan College, as Brody Smith is the batter. Outside. That one hits him. So Brody Smith will get down to first base on a hit by pitch, and now the tying run is on base for Will Martin. And now Dan Haverstick will come out and talk to his pitcher. Of course, Dan Haverstick, a former Division I baseball player, played at Monmouth and Rhode Island. His last season in 2012. Was a solid hitter in his senior year with a 704 OPS. Had 2 home runs for Rhode Island back in 2012. And while they're having this mound visit, an offensive meeting by Eastern as well. We talked about Brody Smith. He is not committed for baseball, but he will be going to school at University of Tennessee, Knoxville, the main campus. He's majoring in finance, which we sometimes like to highlight, especially if they're not going to school for baseball, or I shouldn't say that, not playing baseball in college. But Smith will be on first base. Carback on second, and the tying run is on base for the Vikings. As Eastern's going to look for their 11th win of the year, and it could come in comeback fashion if that's the case. Carback singled to open up the inning, and Smith was hit by a pitch. Sandwiching the middle of them was a Rich Iolucci strikeout. Here is the go-ahead run. 0 for 1. He walked in the second inning, grounded out to shortstop in the fourth. Hill looks back at second. Fielder's not holding the bag closely as there's a strike called. Eden Gaskell. Yeah. Haverstick was asking the umpire to see if that pinch runner was reported, which you do have to report to the home plate umpire that the pinch runner was reported, which it looks like they're saying it was, and if it wasn't, I think they're going to get some clarification here with home plate umpire and Haverstick. The pinch runner at first for Eastern is number 42, Carson Michalski. And the home plate umpire was saying there is no penalty. The runner is in the game regardless. And he's giving him an explanation. That's at least a good thing, that you're not getting shoved out of the room. You're at least getting an explanation on the question. But it's 0-1 to Martin. was the third baseman on Tuesday, the pitcher today, and neither team has made a call to the bullpen as there's a swing and a miss, 0-2. Espino is not in the on-deck circle. We will have a pinch hitter, it looks like, for Eastern, and it'll be number 25, Landon Burkhart, who had entered the game earlier as a courtesy runner. But when you are a courtesy runner, there is no limit on how many times you can enter the game as a base runner. This would be his first time entering as a hitter. Hill looks back. The 0-2. Outside. Waste pitch that time. I don't mind that at all. I think that's fooled a couple of Eastern hitters before, where he'll get 0-2 and then he'll try to set up way outside. This time he goes differently and he tries to drop that curveball in the dirt, which didn't really work, and it ended up in the other batter's box, and now you get to reset on a 1-2. Hill looks back, and now from the stretch, runner goes, throws behind the batter, throw to third, he got him, tags his foot, and he is out, caught stealing on the double steal. They get the lead runner. 2-2. Haverstick came out of the dugout. He thought that was strike three, a strikeout, throw-out, double play. Now we are one strike away from a Mason Hill complete game. Carback out at third, Smith at second. 2 balls, 2 strikes on the double steal. And now Martin steps out. Eastern with a loss would fall to 10-3. Again, they will host Shawnee on Monday. RV with a win would go to 9-5. Everybody on that RV dugout at the top step. The 2-2. Breaking ball high, 3-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Would we dare say this is an upset after Eastern beat RV by 10 runs on the earlier half of April? Popped up. This one's going to go out of play. That was back on April the 3rd. Eastern beat RV in Voorhees at the Joe Hartman Diamond 13-3. And if RV wins, they will have won 4 of the last 6 outings versus Eastern, dating back to 2023. 3 balls, 2 strikes, pitcher versus pitcher. Tying run at the plate. And a fly ball out to center field. This one could split the gap. Going over is Sprague. He'll make the catch, and that's the ball game. Mason Hill, complete game effort. In just about 80 or 85 pitches, they are mobbing him as he allows 3 hits. He only strikes out 2, and Eastern, they put the ball in play, but RV's defense backed them up as the RV Red Devils win this one by a score of 3-1. I don't think it needs an introduction that your player of the game will be Mason Hill, who struck out 2, only allowed 3 hits. He walked 2 batters in the win with an incredibly efficient number. Looks like the JV game ended at about the same time. Time of game today, 1 hour and 44 minutes. It was a breezer today. One of the quickest games that we've covered, not to mention after Tuesday's game versus Bishop Eustis and Eastern was 3 hours and 11 minutes. I think this game would have been in the 4th inning if we had played it on Tuesday. But the Red Devils, they get back in the win column. The Vikings fall to 10-3, and that is the wrap on a fantastic ball game by Mason Hill. And on the offensive side of the ball for the Red Devils, you saw a lot of great contributions. An RBI single by Evan Valley. The second RBI came from Aiden Gaskell, and the battery made of Mason Hill, that is. And then 1 run came in on a throwing error. That'll be all for us tonight on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Caleb Lane, Carson Rosso, and Fisher Giannotti.